Hello, this is Mr. Lindsay with our next lesson here that's all part of the landscape slash buildings. So this one here we did in the last video. This video is going to be the next step from that. This is more advanced, so I thought I'd make it a separate video. This is for anyone that wants to try something a little trickier, and this one does help if you use a ruler for a lot of the steps. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on these steps here, use my ruler, and show you what I'm doing. This is a special point you have to really focus on in the whole picture. This is called a vanishing point. I kind of put it towards the middle of my paper. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but somewhere close to the middle. And I will give you some ideas how to draw this. I probably will try mine with a pen. Well, pencil, let's see if I can get pencil dark enough. It's a little better with pencil because there is some erasing we have to do along the way. So step one, we need our point kind of towards the middle of our paper. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, but I'll say there's my vanishing point. I'm making mine darker so you can see it better, but on your paper, we don't want it super dark. Okay. The next step is to draw the area where I want the road to be, and then I'll draw where I want the tops of the buildings to be with this. So for the road, I'm going to start about here and draw a line that tips out this way, maybe, let's say about to there. Okay, and then I'm going to make it about the same on the other side. Try to angle it so it's close to the same. So we'll say about here. Okay, there's that line. So there are my two lines. Actually, this might work better in pencil or in pens. Let me darken that with pen now that you can see it, so you can see it better. Okay, so I'm going to darken this one so you can see them a little better. All right, now I would do something similar to show about where the sidewalk's going to be in this picture. So I'm going to move in right to about here and draw something that angles out like that. And I'm going to imagine this is the area where the sidewalk is at. Okay, and I'll do the same on both sides. There's one. So there's one sidewalk. And then on the other side, I'll try to make it about the same size. Two. Okay, so there's my sidewalk. And then down the middle would be like the stripe down the middle of the road. So same thing. We don't want it too wide, so I'm going to say maybe about here. I'll draw that side of it, and then turn it and draw right about here, the other side of that stripe. If I can get my ruler to stop moving on me. Alright, it's like the stripe in the middle of the road. This could be yellow or white or whatever color I want. Now the sidewalk. You can use your ruler for this, or you can just make the lines. The trick is, this is getting smaller as it gets closer to this imaginary point, the vanishing point. So, I would have some lines in my road that are pretty close together in here. And what should happen when they come out? They should get a little further apart, so the blocks in the sidewalk look like they're getting closer to me. Okay, same on this side. Start off close. Spread them a little further apart, and then keep doing that. And spread them further apart. Okay, it looks like the sidewalk's coming out at us too. Okay, perfect. So there's my road. Now, to make it look like I have a spot for my buildings, I need a line, a guideline to help me. So I will take my ruler and draw it towards the corner. If I can draw it right to the corner, fine. That'd be easier just to make it match. So I'm going to draw a line in pencil right to the corner. Okay, and then one on this side in pencil right to the corner. Like I said, rulers help for that. Okay, so there's my lines. I'm going to imagine this is the top edge of all my buildings. Okay, all of them. Now, to make the buildings, I would start by drawing lines straight up. And they're going to start off kind of like the sidewalk, a little closer together here in the beginning, and then they'll get further apart. So let's do, let's say one here. Spread it out just a little bit. Put one here. Okay, that would probably be one of my buildings. This is going to be the front of one of the buildings. Move it out, and then I'll do another line about here. Okay, and then move it over. Like I said, I can space them a little further apart each time I move out. If they don't get further apart, it's not going to matter too much. Okay, and then this will be building 1, building 2, and this will be my third building. So let's go like this. And I think I'm going to run out of room I'll run out of room for the other side of it. That's not going to show up on my paper. So the other line is like off my paper somewhere so I don't see it. Now, this is what I would do next. This here is the top edge of my building. Okay, this is also the top edge. And then what can I do now? That can be erased. So that part's gone. Now this is the front of my building, the top edge, and then this one goes into here. Okay, and then this part can get erased, just like that. And then the last building, I can't see the rest of it. It's all off my paper, so I'm done right there. So now it looks like I have 1, 2, 3 buildings, all of them going right to the road, kind of like touching the road or the sidewalk. Okay, right lined up with the sidewalk there. Okay, now the bottoms of the buildings, I would do the same. See how I did a line here? Well, I would also do one right about there. Okay, and this is like the grass in between the buildings. Then this one here, right where it runs into the road, I would draw a line there. Okay, and this is more like a little grassy area in between buildings, a little space between them. So there's my buildings on this side of the road. This side, I could do big trees, a huge tree, smaller, smaller, smaller. I could do all sorts of things, but to keep it similar, I'll probably do buildings kind of the same way. So I'm going to start about here, draw a line, leave a little space. Okay, this would be building 1. Okay, I'll leave a space in between. Maybe this is building 2, so 1, 2, and then maybe the beginning of a third building that's going to run off my paper. I won't see that last building. It's going to run off my paper. Okay, so just like the last one. Draw that in and draw that in. Leave this here, draw that one in and draw that one in, and then erase. In between on the tops, that can go away. And it looks like I have 1, 2, and the beginning of the third building on this side. So there's my road with my buildings. Pretty cool so far. I like to draw sometimes a sun right here, like a curve. There's the sun in the background. I could draw some clouds off in the distance. In the sky, make that darker so you can see it. Okay, a cloud over here maybe, just to add a little bit in the sky. So there's my clouds. Now as far as drawing details on the buildings, it's a little trickier than the other landscape I showed in the other video, but you can do the same kind of thing. The trick is everything gets smaller as it goes this way, just like before. So I would draw myself a light guideline where I want the top of my door to be, okay? And then when I made the doors, they would all match. So if I take my ruler and line it up with a point, and I could draw a line here and here and here, okay? Now when I draw the door on my building, I draw the side of it, another side of it, and this is the top of my door, and this is the bottom of my door. Okay, so there's my door. These extra lines go away. Okay, put another line down the middle. There's my door. Okay, this one here, I drew a line here, aiming at the point, just like that. This is the bottom, and my door would have to be squeezed in this little space here. And why is it so small? Because this building is far away. That building's way back here. Okay, same on this side. Use your ruler, line it up with that point, and then draw yourself a guideline. Where do I want? There's one here, one here, one here. There's my guideline. Make it a little darker so you can see it better on your end. Guidelines. Okay, Then I would draw sides to the door, a line in between, and there's a door on the front of that building. I can erase these extra lines. Okay, there's the entrance to that building here. Same thing. Line down the middle. Erase, erase. Okay, some sort of an entrance on that building. So the trick is to make sure all these things get smaller and smaller as they go to that point. So that's why this one's a little trickier than the first one I did. But it's a really cool way to learn how to draw buildings and landscapes, everything getting smaller and smaller. Windows are the same way. I could draw guidelines for my windows, so I'd have a line here and a line here coming out. And the windows would have to fit into there. So maybe I'll draw a row of windows on this side just to show you real quick. So above my door, I'm going to draw just on this building only just to show you. Line it up with a point and draw a line here. I'm going to keep this lined up with a point and move my line up higher, but it still lines up with the same point. Okay, and I'll do it again. Turn it, leave it aiming at the point. Now let me move that so you can see what I just did. All these lines are going directly towards that center. 1, 2, 3. Now to make it look like windows on that building, all I have to do is draw some straight lines up to divide it. Looks like there's a bunch of windows on that building now. These are all windows. Maybe there's a sign right here in this empty spot that says what this is, what that building is, what kind of store it is. That could be on there. So windows, doors. These details are a little trickier. If I do one window at a time, same thing. This window would be here, straight down. This one aims at that point, and then this is the side. So these lines for these windows have to aim to that point. Another window, another window. See how they're all aiming at that point? This one goes here and all these go there. I just did 3 windows. They call that in perspective. Perspective drawing means everything gets smaller as it goes to here. So this is what we call 1-point perspective because I have 1 point. Anyways, much more complicated than before, but I know there's some of you out there that you'll be really good at this. I mean, I'm sure there's several of you who can do something like that. So if you want to try something a little more difficult, this might be something you want to give a try. This is something that's just fun to stick with in pencil. You could always go back and outline things and color it, but I would just start it in pencil and see how you do. It's a little detailed to color, but you could go back and add some color with colored pencils. But I really enjoy just drawing this way in pencil, darkening my lines a little bit as I get done, adding my details, and keep going. I could continue adding more details to my other buildings. So if you'd like to try that, like I said, I have a link to the picture. You can always click on the smaller picture on my page there, open it up and see a full-size view with the steps. Might make it a little easier if you have those steps in front of you, but I look forward to seeing what you draw.